Listen carefully. Florence Scovel Shinn declared that every man has within himself the power to change his circumstances and environment. If you're watching money slip through your fingers while others seem to attract wealth effortlessly, today you'll discover the one phrase that can reverse your financial fortune immediately. There exists a specific combination of words so potent, so perfectly aligned with the laws of prosperity, that speaking it just one time with complete faith can set in motion forces that draw massive wealth into your life. This isn't theory. This isn't speculation. This is the tested spiritual science that Florence Scovel Shinn taught for decades, transforming countless lives from poverty to prosperity. Today, you're going to learn this phrase, understand why it works with such power, and discover how to speak it in a way that guarantees results. If you're ready to stop blocking your abundance and start drawing massive wealth into your life, leave "I am prosperous" in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and activate notifications so you don't miss any lesson on spiritual prosperity. This is the moment your financial life changes forever. Most people have no idea they're living under a curse of their own making. Every day, they speak words that repel wealth, block opportunities, and keep them trapped in cycles of financial struggle. They wake up and immediately begin complaining about bills. They look at their bank balance and declare, "I'm broke." They see expensive items and say, "I could never afford that." They watch successful people and think some people have all the luck. Each of these thoughts and words is a powerful decree that shapes their financial reality. What they don't understand is that the universe is always listening, always responding, always arranging circumstances to match the vibration of their dominant thoughts and words. Florence Scovel Shinn understood this principle with crystal clarity. She taught that our words are not merely sounds we make, but creative forces that literally construct our experience of reality. The tragedy is that most people were programmed for poverty from childhood. Your parents probably told you that money doesn't grow on trees. Your teachers likely emphasized how hard you'd have to work for every dollar. Religious authorities may have told you that poverty is noble and wealth is dangerous. Society constantly reinforces the message that resources are limited, competition is fierce, and only a lucky few get to live abundantly. These messages embedded themselves deep in your subconscious mind, creating a poverty consciousness that now runs automatically, generating thoughts, beliefs, and words that perpetuate lack. You didn't choose this programming. It was installed before you were old enough to question it. But now you're suffering the consequences, watching wealth flow to others while you struggle. Here's what you must understand about how this works. Your subconscious mind is incredibly powerful, but it has no capacity to judge or evaluate. It simply accepts whatever you tell it as absolute truth and then works tirelessly to make your external reality match your internal beliefs. If you believe money is hard to get, your subconscious will ensure that getting money feels difficult. If you believe you're not meant to be wealthy, your subconscious will sabotage opportunities that could make you rich. If you believe the economy is terrible and there's not enough to go around, your subconscious will filter your perception to show you only evidence that supports this belief. Florence Scovel Shinn called this creating mental equivalence. Your outer world is always a perfect reflection of your inner world. Change the inner and the outer must follow. Think about the words you've been speaking about money. Really examine your casual speech patterns. When someone invites you somewhere, do you say, "I can't afford it"? When you see something you want, do you say, "That's too expensive for me"? When you think about your future, do you worry about having enough? When you discuss finances with others, do you complain about prices, taxes, bills, debt? Every single one of these statements is programming your subconscious for poverty. You are literally speaking lack into existence. You are using the creative power of your word to manufacture the very scarcity you claim to hate. And then you wonder why money doesn't come to you. The universe is simply giving you exactly what you're asking for through your words. Florence Scovel Shinn always taught that spiritual law is as precise and reliable as mathematical law. 2 + 2 always equals 4. Gravity always pulls objects downward, and spoken words always create corresponding realities. This is not sometimes true or true for some people. This is universal law that applies to everyone equally. The problem is that most people don't know this law exists, so they use their creative word power unconsciously and destructively. They speak whatever comes to mind without any awareness that they're shaping their destiny with every sentence. But once you understand spiritual law, once you recognize that your word has creative power, everything changes. You can deliberately choose words that create the reality you desire instead of unconsciously choosing words that perpetuate the reality you despise. The principle that Florence Scovel Shinn taught most powerfully is this: there is infinite supply in the universe. God is abundance. The universe is prosperity. Divine intelligence is unlimited wealth. There is no scarcity in spiritual reality. All limitation exists only in human consciousness. When you were born, you inherited divine abundance as your natural birthright. You are meant to live in prosperity. You are designed for wealth. You are created to overflow with resources. Poverty is not God's will for you. Struggle is not your destiny. Lack is not your natural state. These are all illusions created by false beliefs and reinforced by destructive words. The moment you align your consciousness with divine abundance, the moment you begin speaking words that match spiritual reality instead of human limitation, wealth must flow to you. It's law. It's inevitable. It's guaranteed. This is where the power of one perfectly crafted phrase becomes life-changing. Florence Scovel Shinn was a master of creating affirmations that encapsulated profound spiritual truth in simple, memorable language. She understood that certain word combinations carry a vibrational frequency that resonates with abundance. She knew that when you speak these words with genuine faith and absolute conviction, something shifts in the invisible realm. A door opens, a channel clears, a connection is made, and wealth begins moving toward you from sources seen and unseen, expected and unexpected, human and divine. The phrase I'm about to share with you has been tested and proven effective by thousands of people who have applied Florence Scovel Shinn's teachings. But I must warn you, this phrase will only work if you meet specific conditions. You cannot speak it with doubt and expect results. You cannot say the words while your mind is filled with fear and disbelief. You cannot recite it mechanically without feeling and think something will happen. Florence Scovel Shinn was absolutely clear about this. She said that affirmations without faith are like seeds planted in concrete. Nothing grows. The power is not in the words themselves. The power is in the words spoken with complete conviction, absolute faith, and unwavering expectation that what you declare shall come to pass. So before I reveal this phrase, you must prepare your consciousness. First, you must make a firm decision to release every limiting belief you've been holding about money. Right now, in this moment, decide that you will no longer believe money is hard to get. Decide that you will no longer believe there's not enough to go around. Decide that you will no longer believe you're not worthy of wealth. Decide that you will no longer believe wanting prosperity is selfish. These beliefs are lies. They are false programming. They are mental chains that have kept you imprisoned in poverty. Break them now. Reject them completely. Refuse to give them any more power in your life. Second, you must cultivate a deep sense of gratitude for what you already have. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that gratitude is the key that unlocks abundance. When you appreciate what you have, no matter how little it seems, you send a signal to the universe that you're ready to receive more. Start right now by giving thanks for every dollar you possess. Thank God for the roof over your head. Thank the universe for the food you ate today. Thank divine supply for the clothes you're wearing. Feel genuine appreciation. Let gratitude fill your heart. This emotional shift is essential because gratitude vibrates at the same frequency as abundance. When you're grateful, you're magnetic to wealth. Third, you must create what Florence Scovel Shinn called the mental equivalent of wealth. This means you must begin seeing yourself as already prosperous in your mind's eye. Close your eyes right now and imagine that you already have massive wealth. See your bank account filled with money. See yourself making purchases without worry. See yourself giving generously to others. See yourself living in financial freedom. Make this mental picture as vivid and detailed as possible. Feel the emotions of already having what you desire. This internal reality is the blueprint that your external reality will follow. Now, here is the phrase that draws massive wealth. Divine abundance flows to me now in avalanches of prosperity. I am a magnet for money, and wealth comes to me easily from multiple sources under grace in perfect ways. Speak this phrase right now. Say it out loud with power and conviction. Declare it as absolute truth. Feel the words resonating in your body. Believe with every cell that what you're speaking is already done in the spiritual realm and is now manifesting in the physical realm. Don't whisper it timidly. Don't recite it doubtfully. Decree it with the authority of someone who understands that their word is law in their own experience. Let me explain why this phrase is so extraordinarily powerful. First, it begins by acknowledging divine abundance, which immediately connects you with the infinite source of all wealth. You're not trying to get money from limited human sources. You're tapping into unlimited divine supply. Second, it uses the present tense, flows to me now, which brings the manifestation into current time instead of some distant future. Your subconscious responds to now, not someday. Third, the phrase avalanches of prosperity creates a vivid mental image of overwhelming abundance, not just a little bit, but massive wealth pouring into your life. This stretches your consciousness beyond small thinking. Fourth, the statement, I am a magnet for money, establishes your identity as someone who naturally attracts wealth. This is not something you're trying to become. This is what you are. When you claim this identity, you shift from someone who chases money to someone who draws money effortlessly. Fifth, wealth comes to me easily, removes all sense of struggle and hard labor. Money doesn't have to be difficult. When you're aligned with prosperity consciousness, wealth flows naturally. Sixth, from multiple sources, opens you to receive from channels you may not have considered. You're not limiting how your good can come. You're allowing the universe to surprise you with creative ways to bring wealth into your life. Finally, under grace in perfect ways, ensures that your wealth comes through divine order, not through manipulation or harm to anyone. This is the blessing that makes your prosperity pure and protected. Florence Scovel Shinn always emphasized grace in her affirmations because grace means that your good comes through divine intervention, not just human effort. When you add in perfect ways, you're trusting that infinite intelligence knows the best methods to bring wealth to you, ways that serve your highest good and the highest good of all concerned. When you speak this phrase with genuine faith, the universe immediately responds. In the invisible realm of cause, everything begins shifting. Your vibration changes. Your energy field recalibrates. Your consciousness aligns with prosperity. And the law of attraction activates, beginning to draw wealth toward you like a magnet draws iron. You may not see physical evidence immediately, but trust that the wheels are in motion. Money is moving in your direction. Opportunities are being prepared. People are being guided to you. Resources are aligning. Your job is to maintain your faith and watch for the signs. Now let me give you some critical guidance for working with this phrase to ensure maximum results. The first key is emotional intensity when you speak the words. Don't just say them flatly. Infuse them with feeling. Feel the excitement of wealth flowing to you. Feel the relief of financial abundance. Feel the joy of prosperity consciousness. Feel the gratitude for divine supply. The emotion is what gives your words power to penetrate your subconscious mind and broadcast a strong signal into the universe. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that words spoken with intense feeling impress the subconscious far more effectively than words spoken mechanically. The second key is visualization. Immediately after speaking the phrase, close your eyes and see wealth flowing to you in avalanches. Visualize checks arriving in your mailbox. See your bank account growing daily. Picture unexpected money coming from sources you never anticipated. See yourself as a magnet with money flying toward you from all directions. Make the visualization so real that your body responds as if it's actually happening. Your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you combine powerful words with vivid images, you create an unstoppable force for manifestation. The third key is acting from prosperity consciousness rather than poverty consciousness. After you speak your phrase, you must begin making decisions as a wealthy person would make them. This doesn't mean spending money you don't have. It means thinking abundantly, speaking abundantly, and carrying yourself with the confidence of someone who knows wealth is flowing to them. When you're in a store, don't think I can't afford this. Think, I choose not to purchase this right now, but I certainly have the resources if I wanted it. When opportunities arise, don't immediately think, I don't have the money for that. Think, money comes to me easily, so I'll watch for how the resources appear. This shift in thinking and speaking is what Florence Scovel Shinn called demonstrating faith through consciousness. The fourth key is staying alert for inspired action. When you activate spiritual law through your spoken word, divine intelligence will begin guiding you. You may suddenly think of someone you should contact. You may get an idea for a service you could provide. You may feel prompted to apply for a position you wouldn't normally consider. You may be led to invest in something or learn a new skill. Don't ignore these intuitive nudges. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that God's guidance often comes as gentle impressions, quiet thoughts, or subtle feelings. When you follow these divine leads, you position yourself in the right place at the right time to receive the wealth that's flowing to you. The fifth key is absolutely critical. You must guard your words after speaking your prosperity phrase. If you decree abundance in the morning and then spend the rest of the day complaining about being broke, you cancel out your affirmation. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that we must be vigilant watchmen at the gate of our thoughts and words. Every time you catch yourself about to speak lack, stop immediately. Rephrase it as abundance. Make this a game. Challenge yourself to go an entire day without speaking a single word of limitation. It's harder than you think because poverty consciousness is so deeply embedded. But every time you catch yourself and correct it, you're reprogramming your subconscious and strengthening your prosperity consciousness. Florence Scovel Shinn documented numerous examples of people who manifested wealth through the power of their spoken word. In one case, a woman needed $10,000 urgently. She had no idea where it would come from, but she began affirming daily that divine abundance was flowing to her in avalanches of prosperity. She spoke this with complete faith, refusing to entertain any doubt. Within 2 weeks, she received a call from an attorney informing her that she was the beneficiary of an insurance policy she didn't know existed. The amount? Exactly $10,000. Her spoken word, combined with unwavering faith, created the demonstration. Another powerful example involved a man who had been struggling financially for years. He learned about Florence Scovel Shinn's teachings and began declaring that he was a magnet for money and that wealth came to him easily from multiple sources. He spoke this affirmation every morning and night with deep conviction. Within a month, his financial situation began transforming dramatically. He received an unexpected tax refund. An old client paid a debt he'd written off. He was offered a higher-paying position at work. A side project suddenly took off and generated significant income. All of this happened within weeks of changing his words and his consciousness. This is not coincidence. This is spiritual law in action. These demonstrations prove that the law works for anyone who applies it correctly. It doesn't matter what your current circumstances are. It doesn't matter how much debt you have or how empty your wallet is. It doesn't matter what your education or background or connections are. What matters is your consciousness. What matters is your faith. What matters is your spoken word. When you align these three elements with divine abundance, you activate forces in the universe that must bring wealth to you. It's not a question of if, but when. And the when depends entirely on how firmly you believe and how consistently you maintain prosperity consciousness. Now let me address the false beliefs that keep most people trapped in poverty, because these mental blocks will sabotage your manifestation if you don't root them out. The first false belief is that money is evil, or that wanting wealth is somehow unspiritual. This lie has kept countless good people locked in poverty, suffering needlessly while thinking they're being virtuous. Florence Scovel Shinn was clear. Money is not evil. Money is simply energy. It's a tool. It's a resource. The love of money above all else is problematic, but money itself is neutral. God wants you to prosper. The universe is abundant. Divine supply is unlimited. Wanting wealth so you can live fully and serve generously is not greed. It's alignment with your divine nature. The second false belief is that you have to work extremely hard to make money. This belief creates a consciousness of struggle and suffering that makes wealth feel difficult and exhausting. The truth Florence Scovel Shinn taught is that money flows most easily when you're aligned with your divine purpose and operating from joy rather than strain. Yes, you may need to take action and provide value, but it doesn't have to feel like torture. When you're in the flow of divine guidance, work becomes play. Effort becomes natural. You find yourself doing what you love while money flows to you as a natural result. Release the belief that wealth requires suffering. The third false belief is that there's not enough money to go around, that if someone else is wealthy, there's less for you. This scarcity mentality is absolutely toxic to prosperity consciousness. The universe is infinite. God's supply is unlimited. There is more than enough for everyone to live in absolute abundance. When you see someone else prospering, celebrate their success instead of feeling envious. Their wealth is not taking anything from you. In fact, their prosperity is evidence that the universe is abundant, which means there's plenty for you too. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that blessing others' success opens the channel for your own prosperity. The fourth false belief is that you're not worthy of wealth. This belief usually stems from childhood experiences where you felt rejected, criticized, or made to feel inadequate. Perhaps your parents couldn't afford things and you internalized shame about wanting more. Perhaps religious teachings made you feel that desiring abundance was sinful. But the spiritual truth is that you are a child of God, created in the image and likeness of abundance itself. You are inherently worthy simply because you exist. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that every person has the divine right to prosperity. You don't need to earn worthiness. You don't need to prove yourself deserving. You simply need to accept that abundance is yours by spiritual inheritance. The fifth false belief is that your financial situation is determined by external factors beyond your control: the economy, your job market, your boss, the government, your family circumstances. While these things may influence your experience, they do not determine it. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that consciousness is cause and external circumstances are effect. When you change your consciousness, your circumstances must change to match. You are not a victim of the economy. You are a creator of your own financial reality through the power of your thoughts and words. This is incredibly empowering because it means that no matter what's happening in the world around you, you can prosper if you maintain prosperity consciousness. These false beliefs are the chains that have kept you imprisoned in poverty. You must consciously identify them, reject them, and replace them with spiritual truth. Every time you notice yourself thinking or speaking from these false beliefs, stop immediately and correct yourself with truth. Money is not evil. Money is good and I am worthy to receive it. Wealth does not require struggle. Money flows to me easily and naturally. The universe is abundant. There is more than enough for everyone, including me. I am absolutely worthy of prosperity. It is my divine birthright. I am not a victim of circumstances. I am a creator of my reality through my consciousness. Reprogram your mind with these truths and watch your financial reality transform. Now let me share something profound about the nature of faith that Florence Scovel Shinn taught. Faith is not hoping really hard while secretly doubting. Faith is not pretending to believe while fear churns in your gut. Real faith, the kind that manifests miracles and draws massive wealth, is a deep inner knowing that transcends all evidence to the contrary. It's being so certain of your prosperity that you can relax about money even when your bank account is empty. It's being so convinced of divine supply that you stop worrying about bills even when they're stacking up. It's knowing with absolute certainty that spiritual law never fails, and because you've spoken your word in alignment with that law, your wealth is guaranteed. How do you develop this level of faith? By understanding spiritual law so thoroughly that doubt becomes impossible. Study Florence Scovel Shinn's books until the principles are as real to you as gravity. Examine the evidence of others who have manifested wealth through these teachings. Test the law yourself in small ways and experience proof that it works. Meditate on spiritual truth until it penetrates every level of your consciousness. When you truly understand that your word has creative power, when you deeply know that the universe is abundant and you're worthy to receive, when you completely grasp that consciousness creates reality, faith becomes natural. You don't have to force yourself to believe. You simply know. Florence Scovel Shinn said, You will be a failure until you impress the subconscious with the conviction you are a success. This statement reveals everything. Your subconscious must be impressed, deeply convinced, thoroughly persuaded, absolutely certain that you are prosperous. Not hopeful, not wishful, convinced. This conviction comes from repetition of truth, from consistent speaking of prosperity affirmations, from deliberately choosing thoughts and words that align with abundance, from refusing to give power to appearances of lack. Over time, as you persist in this practice, your subconscious accepts the new programming. Prosperity consciousness becomes your default setting, and when that happens, wealth flows to you as naturally as water flows downhill. Let me give you a powerful technique Florence Scovel Shinn recommended for impressing your subconscious with prosperity. Every night before sleep, when your subconscious is most receptive, speak your wealth affirmation and then create a detailed mental movie of yourself living in abundance. See yourself checking your bank balance and seeing large sums of money. See yourself receiving checks and payments from multiple sources. See yourself making purchases with ease and confidence. See yourself giving generously to causes and people you care about. See yourself living in a beautiful home, driving a reliable vehicle, wearing quality clothing, traveling to places you've always wanted to visit. Make this visualization so real that your body responds with actual emotions of joy, relief, gratitude, and excitement. Do this every single night for at least 30 days. This technique programs your subconscious mind with prosperity consciousness while you sleep. Another powerful practice is to create what Florence Scovel Shinn called a treasure map. Collect images that represent the wealth you're manifesting. Cut out pictures of money, luxury items, beautiful homes, exotic destinations, or anything that symbolizes abundance to you. Arrange these images on a board and place it where you'll see it daily. Every time you look at this visual representation of your prosperity, speak your affirmation and feel the emotions of already having these things. This keeps your consciousness focused on abundance rather than lack. Your subconscious mind thinks in pictures, and when you consistently feed it images of wealth, it works to create that reality in your physical experience. You should also begin a prosperity journal where you record every single demonstration of abundance, no matter how small. When you find a penny, write it down. When someone buys you coffee, record it. When you receive any unexpected money or gift, note it. When you get a discount or refund, include it. This practice serves two critical purposes. First, it trains your mind to notice abundance that's already flowing to you, which you might otherwise overlook in your focus on lack. Second, it builds your faith by providing concrete evidence that spiritual law is working. On days when doubt tries to creep in, review your prosperity journal and see all the demonstrations that have already occurred. This strengthens your conviction and accelerates future manifestations. Florence Scovel Shinn also taught the importance of blessing and praising money. Most people have a negative emotional relationship with money. They resent paying bills. They feel anxious when they think about finances. They speak negatively about wealthy people. All of this negative energy repels money. You must transform your relationship with money by blessing it. When you pay bills, say, "I bless this payment and the wonderful service it provides." When you spend money, say, "I release this joyfully knowing more is flowing to me." When you see wealthy people, silently bless them and say, "Their prosperity is evidence of universal abundance." When you receive money, no matter how small the amount, hold it with gratitude and say, "Thank you for this demonstration of divine supply." This practice shifts your emotional vibration to match the frequency of abundance. Now, as we move toward the close of our time together, I want to issue you a challenge and activate your inner power. Right now, in this moment, make a decision that changes everything. Decide that you will no longer accept poverty consciousness. Decide that you will no longer speak words of lack. Decide that you will no longer believe the lies about money being hard to get or you being unworthy to receive. Decide that starting today, you will speak only words that create prosperity. Decide that you will maintain faith in divine abundance no matter what your current circumstances look like. Decide that you will be a living demonstration of Florence Scovel Shinn's teachings, proving that consciousness creates reality and that spoken words have creative power. Your word is your wand. What you decree shall come to pass. These are not motivational slogans. These are spiritual laws. You have within you right now the power to transform your financial reality completely. That power is your consciousness. That power is your faith. That power is your spoken word. Stop waiting for someone to rescue you. Stop hoping that circumstances will magically change. Stop looking outside yourself for solutions. Everything you need is within you. The universe is abundant. God is your unlimited supply. Divine intelligence knows infinite ways to bring wealth to you. Your job is simply to align your consciousness with prosperity, speak words that create abundance, and maintain unwavering faith that what you decree is already done. Speak the phrase I've given you. Divine abundance flows to me now in avalanches of prosperity. I am a magnet for money, and wealth comes to me easily from multiple sources under grace in perfect ways. Speak it with conviction. Speak it with faith. Speak it as though it's already true, because in the spiritual realm it is already true. Maintain your prosperity consciousness. Guard your words vigilantly. Give thanks for demonstrations before they appear physically. Stay alert for inspired action. Follow divine guidance when it comes. And watch as massive wealth begins flowing into your life from channels you never imagined possible. You are not meant to struggle. You are not meant to suffer. You are not meant to barely survive. You are meant to thrive. You are meant to prosper. You are meant to overflow with wealth that allows you to live fully, give generously, and fulfill your divine purpose. This is your birthright as a child of infinite abundance. Stop accepting less. Stop settling for limitation. Step into the truth of who you really are, a divine being with unlimited creative power expressed through consciousness and spoken word. In the comments, share one prosperity affirmation you'll start using today and what limiting belief you're ready to release. Let's create a powerful community of prosperity consciousness where we support each other in manifesting wealth and breaking free from poverty thinking. Share your demonstrations when they occur. Celebrate your wins. Encourage others on their journey. Together we rise into the abundance that is our divine inheritance. Remember what Florence Scovel Shinn taught. You will be a failure until you impress the subconscious with the conviction you are a success. Your words are creating your reality in this very moment. Stop speaking poverty. Stop declaring lack. Stop affirming limitation. Start speaking prosperity. Start declaring abundance. Start affirming wealth. The universe is responding to your words right now. Divine abundance is unlimited. You are worthy to receive. You are a magnet for money. Massive wealth is flowing to you now under grace in perfect ways. Speak this truth. Believe this truth. Live from this truth. Your financial transformation begins now.